life by my own sword, a life of crime and sin. And this splintered cross I'm hanging on is the prize I finally win. The crowd is screaming curses and the sky's turning gray, and I'm looking at the final bitter ending of my day. The man beside me on my left, he spits and joins the cry, but the one there on my right, he has a different kind of eye. And I heard him whisper, Father, forgive them for their lies. And a lifetime of my own pride just broke apart and died. 'Cause I'd never seen a man like this, I'd never known such grace. And I saw my own salvation in the pain upon his face. And I was just a thief on a hill, hanging next to the King of all the Jews. And I turned to him and whispered, Lord, when you come, remember me, please do. He didn't speak of judgment, he didn't speak of my own shame. He just looked at me with mercy, and he called my soul by name. And the hope of all the ages in my final breath I found when he promised me a paradise on that dark and holy ground. My whole life I took from others, my whole life was just a game of getting what I wanted and of speaking my own name. But in my final hour, with my final stolen breath, I asked the King for mercy in the middle of my death. And he gave it free and fully, a gift I didn't earn, the final greatest lesson that my wicked soul would learn. 'Cause I was just a thief on a hill, hanging next to the King of all the Jews. And I turned to him and whispered, Lord, when you come, remember me, please do. He didn't speak of judgment, he didn't speak of my own shame. He just looked at me with mercy, and he called my soul by name. And the hope of all the ages in my final breath I found when he promised me a paradise on that dark and holy ground. It doesn't take a lifetime to be saved by his own hand. Sometimes it's just a moment when you finally understand that you're broken and you're helpless, and he's the only way, and his grace is big enough to save you on your final day. A thief on a hill, remembered by a king. A thief on a hill, I heard the angels sing. On a hill, a king, remembered by a king. I sat there in the dust, just on the wrong side of the road, a blind man with a beggar's cup and a heavy, worthless load. I'd hear the world go passing by, the laughter and the trade, And I'd sit inside my endless night, forgotten and afraid. Another day of nothing, just the darkness and the heat, till I heard a crowd was coming. I could feel it in the street. And a whisper turned into a shout, a name I'd heard before, the healer who could cast the very devil out the door. And something in my spirit that I thought was dead and gone rose up and screamed a desperate and a simple holy song. And I cried, Jesus of Nazareth, have mercy on my soul. And the whole world tried to shut me up, to keep me in my hole. But the King of all creation, he stopped right in his track. And he turned and asked a question that there was no turning back. He said, what is it you want from me? And the truth was plain to see, that the King of all the universe has stopped his world for me. I threw away my beggar's cloak, I stumbled and I ran right into the waiting arms of the Son of God and man. And he didn't ask my history, he didn't ask my name. He just saw a blind man's desperate faith, a wild and burning flame. And I said, Lord, I want to see. It was all that I could do. And he looked at me with loving eyes and said, your faith has healed you. 'Cause I cried, Jesus of Nazareth, have mercy on my soul. And the whole world tried to shut me up, to keep me in my hole. But the King of all creation, he stopped right in his track. And he turned and asked a question that there was no turning back. He said, what is it you want from me? And the truth was plain to see, that the King of all the universe has stopped his world for me. And the first thing that I saw was not the sun or sky or trees. It was the face of my own Savior looking right back down at me. The one who heard a blind man's cry above the noisy crowd, and let his holy mercy be my new and blessed shroud. Jesus of Nazareth, he heard my cry. Jesus of Nazareth, he didn't pass me by. Jesus of Nazareth, oh, Jesus of Nazareth, oh, he didn't pass me by. He didn't pass me by.
I see you standing here before me after all these hungry years, and the ghost of that old empty pit is screaming in my ears. I remember all the silver, I remember all the lies, and the bitter taste of slavery beneath the desert skies. I spent so long inside a prison for a crime I I laid the blame on you.
And the outlaw in my own heart, he wants to make you pay. He wants to make you suffer for the life you threw away.
I have the power in my hands to make you bow and bleed, and to plant a crop of vengeance from that first and bitter seed. But I'm looking at your frightened faces, and a different story's told. A chapter that is bigger than the brother that you sold. 'Cause what you meant for evil, my God has turned to good. And he brought me to this palace so a nation would have food. And the anger in my spirit has been silenced by a grace that can see a holy purpose in this dark and broken place. And I think about my own life, the betrayals and the pain, the friends who turned their backs on me out in the pouring rain, and the grudges that I've held on to, the debts I've tried to claim, the bitterness I've watered by whispering their name. And I've been the one in prison with a lock held in my hand, a prisoner of a memory in a self-made barren land. But I'm looking at their frightened faces, and a different story's told. A chapter that is bigger than the friendship that grew cold. 'Cause what they meant for evil, my God can turn to good, and bring me to a palace that I never understood. And the anger in my spirit can be silenced by a grace that can see a holy purpose in this dark and broken place. 'Cause the greatest evil ever known was on a hill of shame, when wicked men put Jesus on a cross and cursed his name. But the greatest good the world has known, the victory was won, when God turned that cross to glory through the rising of his Son. What you meant for evil, God meant for good. Yeah, what you meant for evil, now it's understood. God meant it for good. God meant it for good. The sun was hot, the ground was dry, the sky was clear and blue. And my neighbors, they just stop and stare at the crazy thing I do. 'Cause I was out there in my backfield with a hammer and a saw, going against the grain of nature and against all common law. 'Cause there wasn't any ocean, there wasn't any sea, just a dusty plot of farmland, far as anyone could see. And they'd laugh and call me Noah. They'd say the old man's lost his head. He's building a great big old boat, gonna sail it in his bed. And I confess that late at night I'd ask you, Lord, are you sure? And a quiet voice would answer, my own promise will endure. And I'm building an ark on a dusty plain with not a cloud in sight, just a promise that the Lord has made in the darkness of the night. And the world can call me crazy, but I'll hammer and I'll plod, 'cause it's better to be a fool for him than a wise man without God. And I'm staking my whole life upon the truth of what he said, that his grace will be my shelter when the waters rise instead. And I think about my own life and the things he's asked of me, to forgive a brother's trespass for the whole wide world to see, to give away my money when my own accounts were low, to plant a seed of kindness where only weeds would grow. And the world will tell you that you're weak, the world will call you strange, but you're just living in a different economy of exchange. Yeah, I'm building an ark on a dusty plain with not a cloud in sight, just a promise that the Lord has made in the darkness of the night. And the world can call me crazy, but I'll hammer and I'll plod, 'cause it's better to be a fool for him than a wise man without God. And I'm staking my whole life upon the truth of what he said, that his grace will be my shelter when the waters rise instead. 'Cause the ark that truly saves us wasn't made of gopher wood. It was a cross upon a hillside that the world misunderstood. And it looked like utter foolishness, it looked like his defeat, but that ark of grace he built that day makes my own life complete. Building an ark, I hear the sound of rain. Building an ark to wash away the stain, I hear the rain.